everyone. This is Aakash Chaudhry. Genesis of my story today dates back to 2007. In fact, most of us who go to school for our education do not end up going back to school for any other, work apart from alumni meet or, meeting your friends or old teachers. But as part of my job, it involved going back to schools, meeting educators, meeting principals, school founders, and get to know about the challenges that they're facing in a day-to-day life, running their school, executing their curriculums. And as part of one of my visits back in 2007, I had gone to a very reputed school in Mumbai, and and before I could finish my introduction, the school authority, the principal, suddenly interjected and said that, whatever you're saying is great, and I think you guys are doing a good job. But can you help me getting a biology teacher for my school, because my school hasn't had a biology teacher for the last 3 months, and the board exams are coming, and I don't know what to do about it. And I was like taken aback because coming from myself, a reasonably good school, and never understanding or appreciating a problem like that a school could go through, that they are in a dire consequence where the teachers are not there, the syllabus are all stuck. And I was thinking to myself that if this is the situation at a very, very reputed school in Mumbai, leave aside what would be the situation, and if you go down to tier 2, tier 3 towns, how are they managing the crisis of teachers? How are they managing the crisis of continuing their education in the current, career hungry, fast growing economic environment? So that got me thinking. So, we did help the school with, with some teacher, but that thought always stayed in my mind that, how are schools managing this kind of situation? What if this situation gets graver and graver by the day, and how can we solve this? And I think that little thought back in 2007 always carried with me. And when I came to Delhi, I got an opportunity where I discussed this with my team, and I said, is that a problem that most of the schools, most of the education institute, be it college, be it university, are struggling with? And uh, surprisingly, that was the answer that I got, that yes, this is a main problem. And I think that little problem got me thinking that, can we do something about it? And what we did, I caught hold of some teachers and I requested them, some of the good teachers, uh, that you are so popular, why don't you record some of your content and give it to the students in the classroom in the form of a DVD or some video lecture. And back in 2007-8, EdTech hadn't come in, and nobody was talking about digital content and all that. And I think this experiment, when we did, it was surprising that some of my best teachers could not face the camera. They were so good in the classroom, but when they came in front of the camera, they could not utter a word. They were all taken aback. They said, we can't teach a red light on a camera. I mean, we need a full classroom full of students who can engage and who can talk. And then I realized that, wow, this is not about teaching, this is not about academic, this is also about acting. And then we started our search again, and we found good teachers who were good actors also. And I think that is where we got our first break, and we were able to put together a content in the form of a DVD, and we were able to give it out to students. And the acceptance that we got from the DVD gave us confidence that, I think we can take this content to a lot more students and make this issue of teacher not being there really go away from the market, at least wherever we can. And if I could get the right to share my screen, I would like to take you through some of the slides that will make it very, very clear. So as the theme is, coming back to the theme, which is the butterfly effect, and this small little step that we took in recording some of our content and taking to the schools really gave us massive outcomes, and how we saw those massive outcomes come up. I'll take you through some of the real case studies that we experienced. And while we were on this journey, there has been a mathematical equation that has always surprised me, and that you have in front of your screen. If you tend to make things better by just about a percent, and you can really surprise yourself by the end of the year, how significantly you've improved your odds, how significantly you've increased your magnitude with which you can increase your overall impact. And I think that was the idea, that let's record one lecture and see what can it do, how many students can it impact. And the reverse, as you all can see, is also true. If you try to leave the problems on the table, even if it is a tiny ignorance or a tiny rejection of an effort, over a period of full year, you can actually reduce your impact by phenomenal amount of phenomenal degree of reduction. As you can see here, 1% better every day can make that number one into, increase that impact to 37x. And if you start doing less by 1%, can reduce that impact significantly, that from one you can go down to 0.03 in terms of the magnitude. So I think this philosophy has always encouraged us, motivated us to do certain things. And while we were doing all this recording, with the phenomena that there was no teacher in the class and the classes could not happen, and we put that content out there on a DVD. And when we launched this program, with all our enthusiasm that this is the 1% that we're going to do, and this will spiral into something really big and create an impact. But to our utter surprise, this whole initiative of creating digital content failed back in 2012. And by the time we could record content and bring it to the market, and what we realized, that the impact that we were trying to create, maybe the environment was not right. Students did not have internet. Students did not have their own personal learning device. Today the kids have mobile phones, tablets, laptops, even desktops for their own consumption. But if you go 10 to 12 years back, most of the students had one PC in home, which was the household PC. And there was those dial-up internets, and there were no authentic softwares. There was all pirated softwares. There was electricity issue. People were not really glued on to UPSs at that time. So I think that proved to be a big failure for us. And then that got us thinking that if we have a great way to solve problem for students, but they do not have a platform to accept that solution. So what we started doing was, we started researching, can we give them a self-sufficient device that can take their journey forward, irrespective of whether the teacher's there in class or not. And that's where we chanced upon a gaming device. When I posed this idea to my team, they said, are you sure you want to give a gaming device to students? We want to take them away from gaming and you want to bring them back to gaming. I said, don't look at this as a gaming device. Look at this device as a 5-inch screen where you can load the content. You don't need internet, you don't need computer, you don't need electricity because battery charge, and the student is self-sufficient. And I think on the right of the screen you can see one of our first lectures, which were recorded in 2010. On a simple, clean green board with a chalk and a duster, and then just put that on an micro SD card, put it in a gaming device, and we gave it to the students, and they were thrilled, they were excited, and I think that gave us confidence. And I think this whole story of creating content started rolling in a very positive manner. And very soon we realized that this is a need that was waiting to be solved. This is this is a situation that hasn't been looked at in past. And I think that gave us confidence, and we wanted to make it better. And suddenly 2012 became an era of mini tablets and tablets, and there was a lot of these Chinese tablets which were coming into India. I think we looked at that opportunity and we said, okay, let's move away from a gaming device and give this phenomena an education device kind of a name. And that's where we moved all our content from a 7-inch, from a 5-inch gaming device to a 7-inch mini tab, and then progressed to a 10-inch tablet. And what all of this was doing, as we have spoken about the butterfly effect, that there's a flutter that is happening in one part of the world and is actually preparing or readying or creating ripples that could affect another part of the world. And at this point, we had absolutely no idea what this video recording content creation is doing for us. And to our sudden surprise, obviously, when we were at this stage and we were thinking that, this is a great alternative for students who are looking for great content, and if they don't have a teacher in their classroom, they can continue their learning. The learning won't stop. And I think that is the time when, we started innovating more. I said, okay, let's move away from chalk and duster. Can we take the game to a digital board and record content in a very interactive manner? Can we bring in the power of experimentation to the students' houses? Can we bring in a live tutoring to the students? So we continue to take those tiny steps one by one, and improving from a chalk and duster, chalk and talk, to a completely digitized content creation. Least that we know that all of this is not an alternative, but a complete solution when the lockdown happened. I still remember March 2020 when the lockdown was announced. We were 24th of March 2020, we were supposed to launch our programs at about 200 locations in India. And suddenly the lockdown was announced. And we were all taken by a surprise that how will we continue the education of students who were banking on us to help them in this situation. And I think that was the time when we realized that, what those tiny steps that we were taking for last 10 years, this is the time to culminate this into a huge phenomena. And I think that is the time when we launched and converted all our students onto this online platform that we had created over 10 years. We had absolutely no idea that this tiny step, this tiny interaction with a school principal back in 2007 would turn out into the only way that we could continue to give education to students. So I think that lockdown situation gave birth to transitioning all kinds of physical education environments into a digital environment. And I think that is where that small little tiny interaction converted, or I would say rescued, the whole organization from shutting down to becoming a leader in edtech education and growing, to every part of the country, and giving students the hope that they can continue to dream, they can continue to prepare for their career opportunities, irrespective of the lockdown, irrespective of physical classrooms not working. So as I speak today, even in current situation when schools are shut down, all students all across all locations in India with us are studying on our digital program, which was incepted as one tiny little video experiment that happened in 2007 with some teachers who had never ever faced a camera, who are now the trainers and the experts in creating digital content for the national audience. While we continue to do this journey, we continue to uh, you know take more tiny steps in the form of hybrid education, where online, offline, all of this can come together. And today we are we are a platform where we are helping students uh, continue their learning, and all of this is seeded in that one tiny little interaction that I had with the principal that changed the course of the company. And if I look back, that is the pivotal event that led to the birth of creating digital content and becoming a pioneer in it, with others following us. But I still remember that interaction with the school principal that led us to create this first program on a chalk and duster program, and then leading into constantly innovating and creating new steps and creating programs where we have recorded content, live classes, classrooms and hybrids, with the single objective that the education for students should not stop. So these were the interactions that or the experiences that we had, which led to massive outcomes for us. We were absolutely not aware that something like this could ever result into a phenomena, result into the identity of the work that we do, and would continue, would become an integral part for us to continue as an offering for our students who are stuck, in a situation where they don't have access to education. So thank you so much for having me today uh, for the TEDx program at the HIX. Thank you guys. Back to you.